and welcome back to Warframe. So we're going to have a loaded video today. We're doing the Archwing Quest. We previously talked about the prerequisites for this when we, in the first video when we discussed the Heart of Deimos quest, which was not repeatable. It has the exact same prerequisite. You have to do the Mars Junction. So, right there it is again laid out for you. So, after we do the main quest, I plan on talking about Archwing a bit more. But we'll get to that when the time comes. I'll include timestamps and whatnot. But let's get right to it. And away we go. Archwing is probably one of the least liked aspects of this game. It's universally agreed upon that nobody really likes it.
And secured crucial Orican archives detailing the hidden locations of much-needed Archwing parts. Your mission is twofold: cut off their access to the Void and recover the data.
Warframe is the hand, and I am the will.
Get to the portal. We need to shut the Corpus out of the Void before we search for the Orican archive.
So, as I was saying before Lotus decided to talk, Archwing is, she says this in all the Sabo missions, so we're just going to talk over her. But the Archwing is pretty universally hated. I've never had a problem with it. I understand why it's universally hated, especially amongst older players such as myself. The Archwing used to be a lot more grindy, because you can now get... I didn't really want to talk about it till later, but got to talk while we're going, I guess. The Archwing weapons. The parts used to come from missions, and much like everything in this game, if it drops from a mission, you're going to be grinding for it. So, they had some of the worst drop chances. It's no surprise that they're hated amongst older players. I kind of enjoy it as a change of pace, but it's still not like it's the greatest thing in the world. But having an Archwing is a crucial part of the game sometimes. There have been quests that rely on them. There's been event missions that rely on them. D always seems to find a way to push it back on everybody. And like I said, no skin off my back. And this, by the way, if you haven't done it, this is the Orokin sabotage mission. Obviously, we mentioned sabotage already. Anytime you do a sabo in the Void, this is essentially what you'll be doing. Now, there are two variants to it. They'll be pretty well exactly the same. This room, doing this. The difference is whether you're fighting Corpus or Grineer, and that determines what, I guess, mini-boss, so to speak, you'll fight on the other side of this portal.
There's the torsion beam device, but they've taken the Void Key. Find it.
So, here we go. Oh. Sometimes you don't have to go very far. Sometimes you have a pretty lengthy trip. Oh no. Are you gonna stop me?
The assassination target is here. Wipe them out. Quick,
Yeah, that's
pick
what I
up the
thought.
key. You got the key. Now get back to the portal.
So if you're fighting the Grenier one instead, you're going to have two sisters, and they're about as easy as that one. Oops, wrong turn.
Attack us and we will counter.
One important thing to note about this mission: when you put the key in here, this side of the portal will explode. Anybody still on this side when that timer runs out will die. So luckily, their body will spawn on this side of the portal, so teammates can pick them up after. But it's just more of a let your buddies come back through too. Or if you don't like them, don't. I don't care. Again, no skin off my back.
Objective complete. The Void Key and Torsion Beam device are out of commission. The enemy will not be returning.
Why did it show me that waypoint?
That's it. The portal has collapsed.
In standard missions where there's caches, there will not be waypoints to them.
The Orkin Archive. You are one step closer to unleashing the Archwing.
Oh, because it was quest related. Nah, that's why.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Let's go on the offensive.
Let's get out of here and see what's next. Shall we? I honestly can't remember how many parts there are to this mission. It has been that long since I did it. But while we have a little more to ask,
The has passed along
they're
possible
going to talk.
coordinates for you to search for the remaining Archwing parts. Check your navigation console for more information.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ordis. Navigation. Oh, over here, the blinky one. Some things we didn't mention before. So the Archwing Quest came out with update 15.0 in October 2014. In the same update was the release of the Limbo Theorem quest, which was a non-repeatable, hence why there's not a video for it. And where you get the Limbo, well, the base Limbo, because there is a Prime variant.
Has led us to this location. Defend the extractors until you find an Archwing part blueprint.
Excavation.
Let's go on the
I
offensive.
should have swapped to, speaking of, should have swapped to Limbo. Limbo is amazing for these. I mean, it's Corpus, so there's going to be nullifiers that will turn his power off.
The
But
excavator has been deployed. Strike down power carrier enemies. Take their fuel cells and bring the cells to the excavator to keep it powered.
stuck on the lip. Give me your energy cell, bitch. So this is excavation, in case you've never seen it. And excavation is like it's like a defense mission, except multiple defense targets. And if they get destroyed, you don't necessarily lose. So I don't remember what the limit is nowadays, but it used to be. It used to be if you failed 3 in a row, you'd fail the mission. But if you complete 1 to max, it kind of saves you. Now I don't know what the limit is now. I don't know if you can complete 1 and then it doesn't matter if you fail them from then out. It's kind of nothing that's ever come up for me, so nothing that I've bothered to look into beyond that. My advice, don't fail them. Which I know seems like the obvious advice, but I mean, what do you want?
That's it. You found an Archwing part blueprint. Head to extraction when you are ready.
Nice thing you can do on your way out: drop a canister in whatever ones you come upon. There's a resource that comes from these called cryotic. You get, 100 cryotic for a completely successful one. Well, on our way out, when they destroy that one, we're going to get a little bit of bonus cryotic. If they destroy that one. Usually they do, but it's not a guarantee they'll destroy them. Like, they're taking their good old time. We'll give them a little extra by running here instead of just jumping up. Nah, it ain't gonna destroy it. Oh well.
The excavator has lost power. Find another cell and bring it to the unpowered excavator.
I will not find another cell. I am leaving, madam. Here we go again, once more into the fray. Now we have a Grenier side
to this location. Defend
extraction.
the extractors until you find an Archwing part blueprint.
Okay, so one thing to note, we got the Archwing part on the first excavator. That might be a guaranteed thing now. It didn't used to be. So, and I know this definitely applies for Limbo Theorem Quest. And since, at least the same time, Limbo Theorem is loaded to the teeth with excavator missions. And the parts for him do not necessarily drop from the first excavator. And I can remember running dozens and dozens and dozens of fucking excavators to help clanmates in the past get theirs, and bad memories.
This excavator is fully powered. Additional fuel cells will be used to restore its shields.
Move and strike. We have to win this. My Warframe is strong.
Hey, don't attack my shit, yo. Yeah, always keep an eye on your shields. In this and regular defenses, mobile defenses. Keep an eye on the shields. Much like your Warframe, shields will restore. Health, health on the defense targets actually restores too. But it's nice not to touch into it. So easy, we'll just take a moment to scan some plants. Don't mind me.
That's it. You found an Archwing part blueprint.
Maybe they're guaranteed on the first one this time.
Let's go on the offensive.
That's kind of nice if it is, especially for the sake of streaming it. Because I'd hate to just be like, yeah, here we go. Here's another excavator. We're on excavator 15. I haven't seen it get that bad, but I put nothing past the grind. Not necessarily just this game's grind, any game's grind. If there's a grind potential, never underestimate it. Oh, I hope it doesn't make me build this at the end. We might have to burn some more plat just to get the quest all nice and tidy and wrapped up for everyone.
Ordis does hope to see
That
the
would be
Archwing soon.
unfortunate. Is it another excavation? Ooh, infected this time. Getting to see the main three syndicates. The main three enemy factions.
The Orkin Archive has led us to this location. Defend the extractors until you find an Archwing part blueprint.
Yeah, we do. I love hacking these on some Corpus missions. Wait, give me that energy cell. I saw you. Thank you.
Move and strike. We have to win this.
The excavator has been deployed.
Infected are by far my favorite thing to fight. They'll just rush in, headlong.
To keep it powered.
Attack us and we will counter.
Not too many range. There are ranged enemies, but not too many of them. Oh, Jin is picking them off. So Jin, the thing floating above my head, is my sentinel. We haven't talked about those in previous videos. They're another companion type.
Let's go.
Yeah, alright.
An artifact has been located. Proceed to the dig site.
Rewind. Get all that energy back. The nice thing about Protea. I saw him in the detail. There it is.
This excavator is fully powered. Additional fuel cells will be used to restore its shields.
Let's go on the offensive.
It's almost too easy. Just kind of patrol the perimeter. Feel like, hey, what are you guys doing? Huh? Oh no, you died. Oh, your friends died. Oh, how tragic. Thoughts and prayers. Oh, that was fun.
You found an Archwing part blueprint.
Oh wow.
Head to extraction.
There's no way it's locked. It has to be programmed at this point to give it on the first one.
Excavator deployed. Protect the unit while it extracts the artifact. The scanner has picked up a target. Go to the dig site.
Corpus technology won't be enough to stop us.
I just realized the talking head on the side of the screen is, spoiler. Ignore that guy. Just pretend you didn't see it.
Excavator is ready to go. Keep it powered and protect it from enemy fire.
I will not. You cannot make me.
Excavator stalled. Find another fuel cell and take it to the excavator.
Nope.
Look for power carrier foes. Strike them down and bring their cells back into the excavators.
I'm sorry, Lotus. I couldn't hear you talking over the roar of my engines.
Congratulations, you've crafted an Archwing. Now I must commence calibration. So much to do. By my calculations, this process will take 372 hours. Oh, that does seem like a long time.
Okay, so normally...
This is an urgent mission. A Corpus scout ship with information about the location of the Grineer Baelor Fomorians has been located. Raid this ship for intel. We need to know everything they do.
Okay, so normally as you get those parts, it's going to ask you to build them. Come down to your foundry, go to your foundry. There is a tab for Archwing. Your Archwing weapons appear here, your actual Archwing. Come in here, build the parts, build the frame, and given this is the Odanta Prime, but same basic thing. Build your parts. Once they're done, take them all out, build your, Archwing, and bam, that's how we got to the part we're at now. Thank goodness it didn't make us build them again. And an actual Archwing mission.
Tensions between the Grenier and Corpus are boiling over. You're here to find out what the Corpus know.
Let's go.
The old style Archwing.
For too long, the Corpus have extorted the Grenier. Revenge. Consider our contracts cancelled. This is a hostile takeover.
We're just gonna stop for a moment and turn off the alarms. You know, not that everybody and their brother isn't aware that, you know, shit's going down around here. This thing, do not jump through it. It will kill you. When it does this drum beat right there, that'll kill you. So just be aware of that if you ever go through that room.
We have a problem. There is something breaking from the void.
Whoops, slow down, Barrel.
Your fate, my future.
Impossible. All units.
Been a while since I've seen one of these.
Attack us and we will counter.
Come on.
This ship is disintegrating. Aborting mission. Get to extraction.
Except we're not aborting.
Sorry, ship integrity will not permit extraction at this time.
You
Gonna have to
only
Archwing.
one chance. Corpus. Deploy Archwing.
But my calibrations, it's not...
He didn't have his 300 some hours.
Okay, deploying Archwing.
I don't even know which Archwing I have equipped right now.
Tenno, you need to get to the other side of this debris field where Ordis can safely extract you.
Oh no. Don't get shot.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Okay, so that thing in the background, that's a Baylor formation. Or Formarian. That big... That thing. That. It will shoot at you. It will kill you. There's a sabotage mission for going after this. Oh no, we're stuck.
You're stuck in here.
One of the weapons, when we get around to talking about them, is rewarded from doing that Sabo mission.
Take out that Zeppelin.
So just remember that when the time comes.
Operator, the Archwing is performing beyond expectations. I suppose my calibration
Oh,
process
damn
was
it.
not
Where is
necessary
it?
after all.
So the gun I'm using, the Imperator Vandal, is a variant form of the gun you actually get from this quest, the Imperator. The melee I'm using is not the melee that that you get from this, nor is it the variant form of that melee. Oh, damn it. Stupid Zeppelins. Oh no. Oh, also, I'm leveling this up again because I formatted it to fit a mod that Barrow brought like 2 months ago at this point.
Orvis, can you extract now? Tenno, stand by for pickup. Another job well executed.
I don't play Archwing enough to have it already leveled.
We now have the tools to take on Vahek and his Baylor Fomorians. His arsenal is growing, but so will ours. There are more Archwing designs and more weapons. Together we will take to the skies and confront this new threat.
So there you have it. That's the Archwing Quest in a nutshell. But now we're going to expand and we're going to talk about Archwing a bit more in detail. So the easiest way to do this... There we go. Already typed it in. So there's 5 Archwing currently available in the game, given one is the prime variant of the Odanta. You get the Odanta, obviously, from this quest, the Archwing Quest. On top of getting... we'll circle back to that. Just scratch it. So we'll talk about each of them. So the Odanta here is kind of a jack of all trades, master of none sort of thing. It's your base, it's your starter one, so it kind of is what it is. Its first ability here, Energy Shell, it's basically a force field. Deploys, a shell around you, protects you. Enemies that come inside it can shoot at you. If they're outside, hits the shield, stops it. Kind of works like Frost's snow globe, if you're familiar with the Frost Warframe. The second ability, Disarray. Disarray is, think of like the deployable flares you'd see in a movie that jets fire off to get rockets, the heat-seeking rockets off their tail. It works pretty well similar to that. Deploy flares, the missiles and stuff will hit those instead. Its third ability is called Seeking Fire. It's exactly what it says there. You just fire off a bunch of homing missiles. It's pretty good for clearing out low-level enemies, crowd control kind of thing. But here you can see just from those 3 alone on how it's a jack of all trades. Defensive, attack-based. Its fourth ability, Repel, it will push enemies back and stun them. It's pretty simple. It's another good crowd control just to get them off your ass. It's not like it kills anybody or anything, but it'll buy you a little bit of time to consider your next move depending on what's going on. So one thing to take note about this is almost all of the Archwings have a singular mod that is specific to that Archwing. So the Odanta's mod is called Energy Field. And Energy Field affects the Energy Shell ability, this first one. So with the Energy Field mod, it also applies the abilities to enemies within 80 meters. Now that's the base. It applies it at 80 meters. At max rank, which max rank on this mod is rank 3, it's all allies within 140 meters. The Odanta obviously came out in the same update as the Archwing on the same date, so no point in covering that any further. The Elytron here, this came out also the same day as the Archwing Quest. So it would be considered your heavy artillery. It's your big boomer. This is the damage Archwing. It's impressive as hell when you see somebody use it properly. When I first started playing was it was right near the Eyes of Blight event, which was based around that Fomorian that we pointed out in the last mission. the people that had this then, and they altered Fomarian since then that you can't do it anymore, but they would drop its one ability, and when we get there, I'll point it out, and do massive damage and get massive points against the Fomarian. It was awesome. But like I said, they changed it. So going into its abilities, the first ability is called Bloomer. And this is essentially a remote detonated missile. You fire it off, you hit the button again to trigger it, it explodes. Special thing about it, it can latch on to enemies, though. So that's kind of nice. The second ability, Core Vent here, think of it like a smoke screen. That and instead of it like hiding you like a smoke screen, this smoke screen instead kind of hides you from enemy fire. Projectiles and stuff will detonate within it. Third ability, and this is the one they did huge damage to the Fomarian with, and now the change they made to the Fomarians is you can't use abilities at the Fomarian core anymore. But during the Eyes of Blight event, which is probably what led to the change, you could, and people would cast Thumper in there and just rack up the points. This thing, exactly as it says, it just sort of drops a localized set of explosions. An orb appears around, wherever you use the ability and just bombards the hell out of it. Boom, 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 boom. Tons and tons of explosions. Like I said, the amount of points that were racked up in Eyes of Blight was absurd because of that ability. The fourth ability here, Warhead, is it's its fourth, so you'd be like, oh, that's the ability. And it is the ability as far as the most damage output, but it moves so slow. Really, when I've used the Elytron, I rely more on the Bloomer, just because you can remote detonate this one whenever you want. It latches onto enemies. Yeah, it only does half the damage of the Warhead, but it moves faster. It's more reliable. The Warhead has to impact something to explode. It's mad damage, but it's really scenario based, and in my experience, it's not all it's cracked up for. But as with the Odanta, there is a mod that is only for the Elytron, and that mod is called Afterburn. It works with the Core Vent ability. So what Afterburn does is that smoke screen, quote unquote, the exhaust fumes, it ignites them with blast damage, and any enemies that pass into the cloud, then they suffer fire damage. And let me see, it's at base, it lasts 6 seconds and causes 200 damage to any enemies that pass through. And at max, which is also rank 3, it lasts 12 seconds and does 500 damage to any enemies that pass through. So, the next Archwing that came out did not release with the Archwing Quest, and that's the Itzel. The Itzel released in hotfix 15.7.2, which was in December of 2014, I believe. Yeah, December 2014. I was more so questioning the month than the year. But the Itzel is like a stealth attacker. And the wiki, if you look it up, says it's a stealth support frame. But take it from me, this Archwing can 100% be an attacker for you. Not like the Elytron, it's not going to bang out, those mad damage numbers. But it's very, very good for using as an attack Archwing. Its first ability is kind of meh, it's bland. The arc line is essentially a zip line. Pull enemies in or pull yourself to a stationary object. It's reminiscent of, if you're familiar with the frame, again, you may not be if you're watching this, you might be new. But Valkyr, she has a similar ability. And both of them should be replaced with better things. That's I've spoke my piece on that. The second ability here, Penumbra, is it's basically your invisibility. And as far as the description says too, which I knew as much as you're invisible as long as you remain stationary. Firing does not affect that. Melee attacks will, because you won't be stationary while you're meleeing. But you can sit there invisible and shoot all day. And you won't come visible in that circumstance unless you A, move, or B, run out of energy. This helps the Archwing become, be an attacker to a certain degree. But the next ability is what really kind of puts it out there. Oh, nope, sorry. Final ability is what puts it out there. I forgot about Cosmic Crush, its third ability. It says, create a miniature black hole, suck enemies in, and then it explodes and deals big damage. And it's not big. I mean, it's big, I guess. It's almost on par with the Elytron's warhead. But it's good for drawing enemy more than doing the damage of it, because you hit a point where you're not killing enemies with it. It's good for bringing them to you in order to then get melee attacks on them. Now, pardon me, the one that makes it a fighter in my opinion is Fighter Escort. You deploy a bunch of drones, they fight by your side. When they're destroyed, they blow up. It's really, really helpful. You can put out some good damage with this. Not to mention they act as kind of a little bit of a distraction and help you. Like I said, I see this as more of a stealth attack Archwing as opposed to a stealth support. And it's mostly because of that. As stated with the previous two, the Itzel also has a mod specifically for it. This mod affects the Cosmic Crush. It's called Cold Snap. And what Cold Snap does is it freezes all enemies within range of the ability for 2 seconds. That's at base. At max, it's 5 seconds. And that might not sound like anything incredible, but when you're getting swarmed by some of the enemies in certain missions, and they've made Archwing a lot easier than it used to be, so now it's kind of like, and this isn't even like I'm an experienced player and I have lots of, time under my belt and my stuff is built right, and they've made Archwing so much easier than it used to be. It used to be a nightmare, and that again is why a lot of players, really don't like Archwing. But as to if it's quite as important as it used to be, probably not. But I'd say it still has a good purpose. It's a good crowd control, being able to freeze them and stuff. So it's still good. It's probably the best Archwing specific mod out there. Well, for a specific Archwing. There are lots of Archwing specific that can be used on any, technicalities. So the next one that came out was not the Amesha. The Odanta Prime actually came out before the Amesha. The Odanta Prime released an update. Christ, I don't even know what update number it was. I don't have this marked down. I don't have it memorized. It came out in an update. But the update was on March of 2015. We're not going to go through the Odanta Prime. Its abilities are the same. It can use that energy field mod. The difference is, much like, a regular Warframe to its Prime variant. The same applies to the Odanta to its Prime variant. Some of the stats are better, and that's kind of it. But moving on from there, we have the Amesha. The Amesha is essentially your healer. It's, if you're familiar with the Warframe, I'm going to keep saying that because I don't know if you are or not. It's the Trinity of Archwing. So, it's a really, really good. And with its healing abilities and stuff, it's good for solo play too. Because it's not like you're just keeping your teammates alive. You can use the Amesha to keep yourself alive. We'll dive into that a little, before we finish talking about her. So her first ability is Wrathful Swarm. Essentially, much like the fighter drones, you deploy drones. Except these ones don't attack. They just intercept damage for you. Any damage that comes at you, they'll intercept. The unfortunate part is it's single shot per drone, as far as I know. Unless they changed that, they might have changed that. I don't know. I haven't paid attention, haven't looked into it. But not important. They intercept damage. Really good for keeping you alive. Her second ability, Benevolent Decoy. So it's an orb. Similar to how we talked about the Elytron's Thumper creating like an area orb. This is like that, except it absorbs all damage shot at it, then converts that damage into healing pulses. Her third ability, Warding Grace, and Warding Grace is it converts all thinking of Ventral Rust. I'm getting ahead of myself again. Warding Grace, so yourself and all allies, and I should just be reading it instead of doing by memory and getting ahead of myself, but yourself and all allies become immune to status effects, and it also slows down nearby enemies. This is an amazing ability in railjack missions, and you don't know what railjack is, possibly. That will come up sometime later, but railjack is like a variant Archwing mission that's way better. It's a million times better than regular Archwing missions. But take it from me, slowing enemies down in that is spectacular. Slowing them down at all is spectacular, especially if you have certain arc weapons that require like aim and precision, and it's good. It's really good. Now, to where I was ahead of myself, Vengeful Rush. So all damage you take is transformed in energy. While abilities, range, duration, powers enhanced, it affects yourself as well as any nearby enemies. So here's the thing about the Amesha. Good thing to get in the habit of is right at the beginning of the mission, if you've leveled the Archwing up enough to pop this ability and just crash yourself into walls, into meteors, into whatever. Get your energy to max right at the beginning of the mission, and it makes everything else so much nicer. I like doing that, getting my energy to max. Pop this to slow, pop Rewarding Grace to slow enemies down. Throw up a Watchful Swarm to absorb any kind of damage coming at me. Those three in conjunction make it so you really don't even need the Benevolent Decoy. Don't get me wrong, it's still good to use that. It's amazing to heal allies, especially if you have somebody who's, gone all balls to the wall and not paying attention. It's like, hey man, you're going to die, you need to back off. And they're like, no, I got this, I'm on the Elytron. Like, the Amesha is amazing for teams and just as amazing solo. Now, one thing to note about the Amesha is there is no Amesha-only mod. It's the only Archwing that doesn't have it just a mod just for one of its things. And I think any one of its abilities could benefit that much more if there was one, but Like I said, there isn't. So, we know how we get the original Odanta here from the Archwing Quest. The Odanta Prime, much like everything that has Prime in its name, comes from Void Relics. It's on the same Void Relics originally, it's on the same Void Relic set that Volt Prime was on. Now, with how they drop things in and out of, the vault, and they mix things up when new stuff comes out, I don't know what all relics it is on. I know right now that if you want to get those relics, you're going to either have to hope Borrow brings them, because occasionally he does, or you're going to have to buy them from another player or run them with somebody who has them if you yourself do not. The other three, meanwhile, the Itzel, the Elytron, and the Amesha, all three of those Archwings come from Dojo research. So if you want those and you don't have them, you better join a clan if you're not a part of one already. So that covers the Archwings themselves. Now we're going to have to do this a little different to cover the Archwing weapons, because the weapon categories, all the Archwing weapon primaries are scattered in the regular primaries. All the Archmelees are scattered in the melee. So we're not going to do that. We're just gonna come down here. We're gonna whoop. Okay, so here we have all the arc guns. Now the arc guns come from all over the place, and I was trying to think of the best way to cover this. I was like, do we want to, cover them by where they come from? Do we want to cover them by, it's a regular, it's a prime, it's this, it's that? And I decided we're just going to take them in alphabetical order, with the exception of certain things, like down here, the Prisma Dual Decorion. We're going to cover the regular Decorion, and then the Prisma's going to roll, even though Prisma alphabetically is down here. So one thing to note, and this applies to both the arc guns and the arc melees, a good majority of them, their blueprint can be bought from the market. The only ones that doesn't apply to, we'll cover. But the ones that its blueprint comes from the market, you can receive the parts from one of the main 6 syndicates: Arbiters of Hexus, New Loka, Red Veil, etc., from those. They cost 20,000 standing. I believe that's a flat rate. I think they all cost 20,000 standing. Don't quote me on that. And I believe they unlock at ranks 2 and 3, depending on which part it is. But everything for those ones, for the ones that blueprint is from the market, you can also acquire their parts from trading with another player. The market blueprint, the blueprint, cannot be traded. Just for these ones, like I said, just for the ones that are bought from the market. So launching right into it, the Cortage here, and we'll kind of pop them each up. Oh, God damn it. Pop them each up. Give them a little spin. So the Cortage here is one of the exceptions. You buy the blueprint and parts from the Necroloid Syndicate in Necrolis on Deimos. We're gonna kind of skim through these. We're not going to go in as much detail as we did. I should have said this at the beginning. We're not going to go as much detail as we did with the Archwing, just for one, the sake of time, and two, like, how much can I say beyond, oh, it's a gun. If you really want, pause, read the descriptions, look at the stats. I guess I could scroll down the stats here if you want. So, but we're not going to talk about them in detail. We're just trying to kind of cover them. God damn it. This is the Corvus Prime. And you know what? everything red. I should really default color some of these just for the sake of it. But the Corvus Prime, we're not going to talk about it first. We're going to talk about the regular Corvus. So the regular Corvus, which these are the stats for the Prime, so take it with a grain of salt. But the regular Corvus, the barrel comes from Arbiter Cephexis. The receiver comes from Cephalon Suda, and the stock comes from Steel Meridian. 3 parts, 3 different syndicates. That sucks. I know. But that's how you get the regular Corvus. Now, it might be easier for you, since that's 3 different syndicates and earning points to get them up. You know, especially if you're new, you might just be further ahead to go after the Prime, which, like I said, all Primes come from Void Relics. I can't remember what it released with, and I don't have any of the details on it, but that's, for the sake of time, we weren't going to dive into it anyways. The Singus here, I hate this gun. I don't even remember it, but I know I hate it. The Singus, the barrel comes from Arbiters of Hexus, the receiver comes from Cephalon Suda, and the stock comes from Parent Sequence. Again, 3 parts, 3 syndicates. I'm sorry. Skipping down here, these are the Prisma Duldecorian. There is a regular Duldecorian variant, which we'll talk about first. Again, take the stats with a grain of salt, since this is the Prisma version. Prisma, much like Primes, is like an upgraded version of the regulars. It's just a different type of upgrading. Think of it like a Tenno specific upgrading. Like the Prime stuff is like the Orokin upgrade, and Vandal is like the Corpus upgrade, and Prisma is like Tenno upgrade, and then there's Wraith, which is Grineer upgrade. But they're nonetheless an upgraded version. The regular Duldecurian. The barrel comes from Arbiter of Hexus, and you'll find that the Arbiters, if you can't already tell, they're very fond of barrels. But the barrel is from Arbiters of Hexus. The receiver is from Cephalon Suda. Look, who's fond of receivers? That's it. You may need 2 of each. I can't recall. But you'll find out when you go to make it, so yeah. This next one, the Fluctus, this is a weird-looking gun, but this is by far one of my favorites. It fires like an arc beam that just goes in a straight line, penetrates stuff. It's phenomenal. I really wish they'd put out a Prime variant of it. But the Fluctus, the barrel comes from Cephalon Suda. Change of pace there, not the Arbiters. The limbs come from Red Veil, and the stock comes from Steel Meridian. So we have to jump down for the next one, because I no longer have the regular variant. But well, we can show it off to a certain degree. The Grattler. And, we can... Oh, Jesus. You know what? We can show off the Duldecurian. There's the regular stats for the original. We missed the Corvus? Here's the Corvus's regular stats. Anyways, but we're gonna pull up the Kuva one. So the Grattler, the regular Grattler, it's a dojo research. Plain and simple. Again, you need a clan. So you may have an easier time getting yourself the Kuva Grattler, depending on where you are in the game, by hunting a Kuva Lich. If you don't know what that is, maybe I'll do a video on it someday. If not, the wiki. Check the wiki. It'll tell you like how to get there, what you need. But that's for another video. Moving on, just while we're on the subject of Kuva Liches, the Kuva, dang it, Agak here is another weapon that comes from Kuva Liches. This is unique in that there is no regular version of this gun. The Kuva version is the only version of the Agak. But, pounding right along and somewhat back into alphabetical order. We have our standard Imperator, which I don't know why I have an unranked one. But the standard Imperator here, you all saw. We just got it from the Archwing Quest. It's that simple. The Imperator Vandal, meanwhile... come on, game. The Imperator Vandal, which is what I was rocking in that mission... It comes from, remember I've mentioned it, the Fomarian. Do Fomarian sabotage when it pops up. It has a chance to reward the blueprint as well as the parts. The blueprint, this is an exception to the can't trade the blueprint. The Imperator, the blueprint, as well as the parts can be traded. So if you're having trouble getting it to drop from a Fomarian, maybe try trading, chat. Onward and upward. Do we have the regular? Yeah, here we go. Regular Larkspur. So, the regular Larkspur, much like the regular Grattler, is a dojo research. Get a clan, ladies and gentlemen. But, again... Oh, yeah, I forgot. I formatted this to fit the new mod as well. But the Larkspur Prime here might be easier to get depending on your circumstance. Say you don't like playing with other people. Alright, well, maybe you can get the relics for it. Maybe you can farm it out. It's stronger anyways, so... Okay, so... The next one... No, it's not the next one that has a spoiler attached to it. It's the one after that. The Mandonal here... which reminds me of Korvax, the frame, and that's good and well because this is his weapon, essentially. But the Mandonal is, its blueprint comes from Sanctum Atomica bounty. The parts, meanwhile, come from the missions in the lab that you run out of Sanctum Atomica. And let's just real quick, just for the sake of, because I keep talking about places, just real quick, we're going to run up here. So, I have mentioned Necrolis, and I have mentioned Sanctum Atomica. They are both on Deimos. So, there are missions that are, the old Orokin derelicts. I had to think of what they're called. There's the actual open world area that's attached to Necrolis. Meanwhile, Sanctum Atomica has missions that are specific in its tile set. You need to run there in order to get the parts for the Mandonal. And God, I hope you have better luck than myself and Lightning did farming it, because it was an absolute nightmare. We had such a bad time farming it, and now that we finally got it, it drops parts for us all the time. Like, it spits in our face like, hey, I know you were farming this for forever, but screw you. Okay, so the Moslin here. The Moslin... God damn it. The Moslin has a spoiler attached to it. The way you get this is also a Necrolis-related thing. And if you're paying attention at various parts, you've probably spotted the spoiler. You get it automatically when you obtain a certain other thing. And we're just going to leave it hang at that because I don't want to ruin it. The Morgue is another one that is the blueprint and parts are sold from the Necroloid Syndicate. Meanwhile, the Phaedra, the barrel comes from Arbiters of Hexus. The receiver comes from Parent Sequence. The stock comes from New Loka. And last but not least, of the archguns, the Veritux. The Veritux barrel comes from Cephalon Suda. The receiver comes from Steel Meridian, and the stock comes from Red Veil. So, as you can tell, the weapon parts are all from multiple syndicates, and a lot of that could be, build up those syndicates or, trade other players. Find somebody who needs a weapon part from a syndicate you have and trade them for, a part you need from a syndicate they have. That's probably the easiest way to do it, is go for those one-for-ones. Now, the same kind of applies for the Archmelee. There's a lot less Archmelees, and it doesn't really mean anything because the Archmelees they're mostly pretty good. I have my beef with a few of them. We're not really going to go into it. But similarly to the guns, if you can get the parts from a syndicate, you can get the main blueprint from the market. The Agkuza here, long, nice sword. It's hard to get fully on screen, really. But it is the only arc weapon right now that has 4 parts. And I don't mean blueprint plus 3 parts. I mean blueprint and 4 parts. So the Aegis comes from Arbiters of Hexus. The blade comes from New Loka. The guard comes from Steel Meridian. And the handle comes from Red Veil. Wow, that's a mouthful. Yeah, sorry, I had to cough. Sorry again, had another cough there. Something tickling the back of my throat. Too much talking, not enough drinking of water. The Centaur, which is only slightly easier to see on screen here. The Centaur, the blade comes from Parent Sequence, and the handle comes from New Loka. 2 parts to, make up for the 4 parts of the previous one. I think it's only 1 of each, but I may be wrong. That, again, is something you'd have to look at the main blueprint for, and I didn't because I'm just giving the base of base information here. This is the melee I currently rock. The Kazakhs. It is a scythe. It is very, very nice. I like it. It's fast. But the blade for it comes from Red Veil, and the handle from Steel Meridian. Another twofer. Always nice to see those. Rocking to the Nux. The Nux, which are our only fist weapon of the Archwing variety. The Nux are another dojo research. So, go find a clan. Sorry. That's just the way it amounts to sometimes. The Onyx here. Oh, man. This thing is huge. And it dishes the kind of damage you would expect for something this big. But the Onyx, the blade comes from New Loka, and the handle comes from Parent Sequence. We're going to skip that for now, and move on to the Wrathbone. The Wrathbone also deals massive damage, but in a blunt variety. So the Wrathbone handle comes from Red Veil, and the head from New Loka. Now, for our Verituxes. We have our standard Veritux, which is what you got from the Archwing Quest. And you have your Prisma Veritux. Oh, God damn it. The Prisma Veritux here, much like the Vandal and the previously mentioned Prisma, upgraded version. It's sometimes sold by borrow. But there we have it, everybody. That kind of is a real light touch on the Archwings and all the Archwing weapons. So with that note, I'm going to call it here on the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Hit the wrong button in preparation to cut the stream. Hit the mute instead of the broadcast. Sorry about that, everybody. But thank you for watching. Thank you for dealing with my nonsense. And I hope you enjoyed. We will see you all in the next video. Bye.